Welcome to the Professional Car Washing and Detailing's Wash Talk. I'm your host, Brian Ankney. Today, my guests are Ryan and Sean McKenna from McKenna Capital and Hurricane Express Wash. Welcome, guys.
Thanks, Brian. Appreciate being here.
Thank you for coming. I'd like to get started with just a little bit about yourselves. Ryan, can you tell me a little bit about yourself and the career path that led you to where you are today?
Yeah, so a little bit about myself. Got a beautiful wife, 2 daughters, live in Glenville, Illinois, and I grew up in a very entrepreneurial family, very supportive and loving family. At an early age, I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, and it was always something that was in my DNA. And I had a passion for baseball, and set some goals when I was 12 years old. I wanted to play at a Division I college, major school like Arizona State, to be. As a matter of fact, it was something as a little child. I worked hard, and I'm sharing this story because it really will kind of give you a little bit more of how I'm shaped my life today with what I went through. But yeah, I was able to get a scholarship to Arizona State, my dream baseball school, and worked very hard. A lot of nights and weekends, early mornings, hitting the garage when it's freezing cold out with a little warmer in there that my dad would set up for me. And long story short, played baseball at Arizona State, and my goal was always to be that successful athlete who made it to the big leagues and was able to make some money and do something with it. And so I always had aspirations of investing that and being an entrepreneur and running some businesses. But I ended up getting really sick end of my sophomore year. I was playing Stanford, and it was a really weird thing that happened. I had pulled myself out of a game and ended up in the emergency room and got diagnosed with ITP. It's a blood platelet disorder that very similar to leukemia and lupus. And so at that point, all my dreams were kind of shattered because I had worked so hard to put myself in a position to kind of give myself a shot at the next level. Meanwhile, the doctors are like, never going to play again. And, that was something that I felt like, all right, I might have to fall back on my education and business because baseball might not work out. Mm-hmm. And it was at that moment that I was introduced to real estate investing and in the syndication business. So I had a teammate of mine, his father was a real estate syndicator in Phoenix. And so, I kind of looked at my life at that point where I said, all right, someone's throwing me a curveball here and I'm going to face some adversity and I've got to do something different with, with my career path. And so from there on, I was kind of hooked into real estate and investing and, really kind of was able to take, the discipline, the hard work ethic that I had in baseball, my love and passion for that, and put it into something else. And so here we are. I created McKenna Capital back in 2018. It's been a lot of fun, and it's become a family business now with my brother Sean here. So I'll let you share a little bit more.
Yeah, sure thing. Name's Sean. Have a wife, Emily, a high school sweetheart, and 3 kids now living in Arlington Heights. And tell you a little bit more about my background. I went to Indiana University, graduated with finance and accounting degree from the Kelley School of Business. And of course, at that time, I had the dream job going to work for the Big 4 accounting firm. It's the job everyone wanted. And I did that for a couple of years, got a lot of experience in audit in the real estate industry. And then I transitioned to another public accounting firm. So I had about 5+ years in public accounting doing audit, tax, and some internal control work. And then, you'd always heard, you went through the Big 4, hey, you got to get that sweet, corporate job. So, I found that. I did just that. And I was working in the corporate world, middle management and financial reporting role. And prior to that, I had my CPA license as well, which I still do today. And after working in the corporate world, I had, during this time, I'd always been following my brother, best friend, Ryan. He always had so much to tell me. He had so much going on. He'd always give me the call, hey, what's going on? I got this going, and I'd hear him out and always kind of listen, but it was so great when, I was able to follow him, and then the opportunity came up where we could, work together, join forces, bring my expertise from the accounting, finance background, and really help him scale McKenna Capital. So, I started my career path, always thought I'd be in accounting, and now here today, I'm sitting here as the Chief Operating Officer of McKenna Capital, and dream job come true. Get to work with my brother and best friend every day.
Nice, nice. Boy, Indiana's a really pretty campus. One of my little brothers went there, and actually my wife went there. That's a neat place. What made you choose Indiana?
Oh, Bloomington, Indiana, basketball, of course, big basketball fan, Bob Knight, and shout out to Bob Knight, rest in peace.
Yeah. Cool. Well, let's talk about your business. How do you guys help investors, and can you kind of take me through your business model?
Yeah, so I started the business with kind of the passive investor in mind. As a passive investor myself, I always found it attractive to be able to invest in a lot of these real estate deals, not only for the cash flow, but for the equity upside and the tax benefits. And after a few deals I did in certain markets, I felt like I wanted to expand geographically. And so we took the approach of being a co-sponsor and partnering with other operators in different markets, different asset classes. And it really was a model that took off with, started with friends and family investors, and then kind of grew to a national list of investors. We've got over 3,000 right now. And, really it's busy working professionals that, want to participate in a real estate syndication. They want to, get the equity upside. They want to have the tax benefits, but they don't want the phone calls. They don't want to deal with any maybe management decisions. So I kind of, as an investor myself, felt like, if I put myself in their shoes and they really like, the attributes of these types of deals, I felt like that was going to be a winning formula. And so far it's grown like wildfire. It's all been, word of mouth, but we've had a really nice run, and we've done about 100 syndications, purchased over $2 billion in real estate assets, just expanding with my brother coming along. And it's really cool because as an investor, for $50,000, you can actually invest into a real estate syndication. So for those car wash investors out there that have interests, I mean, you can be part of a portfolio of car washes for a smaller amount than investing and having to buy the whole car wash yourself. So that's really what a syndication is. It's pooling together money from a bunch of investors, and then you have a managing company that runs it and executes on the business plan. So it's a great way to participate with friends and family, and we're lucky to have a really strong investor base. And I continue to invest in all the deals myself personally, and it's been a great investment vehicle that not too many people know about, but when they do learn about it, we see a high interest level of repeat investors kind of coming back for more and more.
Well, that sounds exciting. You get to participate in the profit of a car wash, but you don't have to fix it when it breaks down, right?
Yes. That's one of the perks, because you can, if you've got a good company that's running it and managing it well, you can stay in the loop with monthly updates on how the car wash performance is doing, how well the memberships are selling, how profitable it is. And reap the rewards and be part of something special. And you can do it passively. So for those busy working professionals out there, it's a great way to be in the action, but not have it take you away from what you do on a daily basis.
Nice. Well, now, there's a lot of different opportunities in real estate, and there's a gazillion types of retail businesses. What in the world attracted you to car washes?
Yeah. So about 80% of the deals that we do are value-add multifamily. It's probably the one real estate asset class that most people are familiar with, having maybe lived in an apartment before, and we've done very well with that. We have got a very, very strong base, and so the other 20% I would say falls into more of kind of the other niche alternatives. And the express car wash space was something that's always been kind of on the radar. We knew it was profitable business, but until you fully get into it, then you start to look under the hood a little bit, and you're like, wow, this is a great business model, and if we can scale this, there's a lot that we can do, not only good for the communities, but for investors. And it was a model that one of our partners is kind of story. He was out at one of the shows out in Vegas, and he was flying into Chicago, and he said, hey, you got to come meet with me. We got to talk about this idea. And sure enough, he had interest in the car wash space. We did as well, and we said, hey, let's start talking, see what we can do. And they also had a lot of success in the multifamily space. So I think it helped having the background of the syndication, the real estate. We were able to move into another asset class very easily from the standpoint of we knew we had some capital that was interested, but we needed to actually find the right markets and build a team. So that was a lot of work starting out building your own property management team from scratch. But we've worked out a lot of the kinks, and we're in a good position to scale. But I think one of the things that's attractive to investors for the car wash space is that it's kind of there's a lot of mom and pop owners. It's a lot of fragmented businesses where if you can kind of roll up your sleeves, get your hands dirty a bit, and then build a national brand and get some scale and economies of scale and a lot of the the expense side of things. I mean, you can make it even more profitable, even more desirable. So we looked at that as like a challenge that if we can get in there, find the right markets, and build a nice portfolio. We've got 31 express car washes right now. The goal is to get over 100, and so far it's been a good business. And another thing I'll mention too that kind of reaffirmed that this was the right space. There was an article in the Wall Street Journal talking about how big private equity money is really interested in the car wash space right now. And it used to be the days where car washes were very seasonal. If it was rainy, no one would show up. It's cash-based business, and big private equity they don't like the volatility. They don't like the cash aspect of the business. But nowadays, it's all about the reoccurring monthly revenue through membership sales, and the seasonality is kind of taken out of that because the customer has to opt out. So a lot of big money's pursuing this right now, and we feel like we're in at a pretty early stage, and it just kind of reaffirmed that this was the right track. And we've seen a lot of crossover with investors who have done other deals, and they're very interested in the car wash space, and so we continue to keep growing and building there.
Nice. So there are a lot of tax advantages to car washes versus other asset classes, right? And can you kind of explain some of the depreciation and advantages that come from a car wash versus maybe some other asset classes?
Certainly. Yeah, as Ryan had mentioned, we have 31 Hurricane Express washes, and we're located in 7 different states. So each car wash asset, there is a cost segregation study that is done to take advantage of depreciating the assets over a shorter period of time, along with the bonus depreciation really allows to accelerate the tax savings, which ultimately increases cash flow that you can put back into your business. So for example, instead of depreciating some of these assets within the car wash itself, you're depreciating them over a shorter useful life instead of the 39 years. You're able to break them up into 5, 7, 15 years, which that really accelerates the depreciation, and you see it on your bottom line.
Interesting. You brought up memberships a little bit, but I want to talk more about that. I mean, tell me a little bit about why memberships make car washes so attractive to a company like yours, and what they mean in your hurricane washes.
Yeah, I mean it's pivotal to our bottom line and top line because it's driving revenue growth, and the membership the advantage to that is you have that reoccurring revenue that comes in on a monthly basis, and so we'll do everything from open houses to marketing, advertising, just to really push the membership sale. And each location has its own salesperson that is trained, that's out there greeting the customers, talking about the different memberships that are offered. But yeah, our goal is to get to at least 5,000 memberships per location. And so we've already seen big membership growth in the first and second quarter, mainly because of pollen season. There's just a lot more of a need in the Southeast for getting your car washed at those times of the year. But we've actually seen the third and fourth quarter surpass that. So we're at a point where we're generating a lot of new memberships, and the business plan is going very well, and we want to continue to keep that up. But yeah, that is really the most pivotal part of the business, is keeping that growth up, because everything else, if we have that growth and we execute on the operations end of it and we can scale properly, we should do very well. So it's a great model, and it's one that I think is the reason why a lot of big money is looking into this space.
You mentioned open houses. What does your open house look like at your hurricane wash?
Well, we try to draw attention to the thousands of cars that are driving by, and sometimes it's getting some people out in front, with some funny costumes, or just some way to draw some attention, but you're getting the people in, and you want to give them a little taste of what the business is all about, and give them that free car wash, because we see once we give something away, or we're able to get people to create awareness about the opportunity. We'll do an open house, and we might sell a couple hundred memberships just over a 2-day period.
Oh, wow.
And that's a pretty substantial amount when we're trying to really drive that membership growth. So we try to do that multiple times, especially when we're launching a new location. The open house it's a really great way to kind of create that awareness and to drive the membership sales. And so, who doesn't love a free wash? Test it out, and if you like it, you can sign up. And so, we've been doing that, and like I said, it's been very effective.
We've also used the open house to combat local competition. So, we've caught wind of a new car wash opening up in one of the towns where a current Hurricane Express wash is located. And you know what? We did the open house bigger and better. We brought more people in, more resources, and our open house went longer than their open house did. It went a couple days longer because they shut theirs down early.
Nice.
Yeah.
You guys mentioned that you have salespeople on site at all your washes, and I mean, customer experience is probably more important today than it's ever been in business, like, no matter what you're doing. How do you train your people, and how do you make sure that experience is consistent at Hurricane Washes, in different states and different cities?
Yeah, we have Hurricane University, which has over 100 videos, policies, procedures, sales training. So it's more just a friendly aspect. So when you pull up to the wash, you have someone greeting you there who's nice with a smile, and just it's customer service. The customer is always right, whether that's when you first get there or when you leave. We're just trying to establish that relationship, and ultimately, the goal is, like Ryan said, to have 5,000 memberships per site. And given our app, which Ryan will touch on a little more, to get car owners into the Storm Club, which is on our app. It's so simple. It's a beautiful app. You can use your Apple Pay, Google Pay, and a lot of times our salespeople are signing people up, before they even go into the wash, and they're just making that initial greeting. And again, the more members, the better, because that's the reoccurring revenue, cash flow, predictable on a monthly basis. And I'll tell you, I own a car wash membership myself, local car wash in town, and I'm there 2-3 times a week. Ryan will call me, and I'll be like, "Where you? Hey, I'm getting my car clean, but hey, I got my computer, I got my phone, I can do it all." And it feels good, and you like having a clean car. So sometimes I even use it as meditation.
Nice.
He's got the cleanest car in town, I'll tell you
Really?
that much. And one other thing just to add on, the training that goes into it, and we, like Sean mentioned, the customer's always right. And so one of the things we want to do is have that white glove customer service experience. And I think it's evident on the Google reviews. I mean, we've got over 3,000 5-star reviews, and
wow.
So there's a high level of engagement. And at the end of the day, we want our customers to feel like we're the Chick-fil-A of the express car wash business.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you've got somebody there whose job is just to make that experience great, I mean, they can probably fix just about any little problem that may have been a nuisance, to the customer.
And another thing, we want to have the strongest vacuums in town, so we make sure they always work.
Oh,
It's the little things that matter, because that's when the customer is actually going to be, doing some of the work themselves after, and so having the best amenities and utilities that that work is super important.
yeah.
And we got the mat cleaners are right outside in the vacuum bay, and just the fragrances, all that stuff is right there for the customers to use as soon as they exit the wash.
Even the little spray gun too, right?
Yeah, the spray gun. It was a cool little like air gun that you can get in all the crevices. So steering wheel, and it worked fantastic. And in each vacuum bay, there's one of those as well. So when people got all the crumbs and the sticky stuff from the kids, you just use the little air gun and it cleans it up. So customers or Storm Club members have loved that.
Nice. We actually shot a video we had a company brought some of those little guns in, and we hooked it up to our system out in the garage studio and shot some videos with those. They're pretty cool.
Yeah,
they are.
Like, I'd like to have one at my house.
Exactly.
I don't have one at my local car wash, but I'm going to let them know that it's a great product.
Yeah, they need one. So I want to ask you a little bit about the economy. I mean, right now, interest rates are high. People are worried about the economy. I mean, with all that going on, are you still in acquisition mode, or are you buying car washes?
We are, but it's on a more selective basis. Obviously, with the high interest rate environment, with the cost of debt going up, it's one of those things that everyone has to deal with, right? Mm-hmm. And so, we're still doing a ton of due diligence. It's just, hey, can we make this work in certain location? We're still going to be acquiring new car washes, but one aspect of the business that's changed a little bit is that we have done a few development deals. So the reason for that is that we can get it at usually a lower cost basis to build. Let's say it costs $4 million for a development, and if we can get as soon as we get the certificate of occupancy within 3 months, if we can really drive up the membership, we can be net positive and really kind of hit the ground running. Whereas if we're acquiring, maybe that's 6 to 8 million, and you're buying a mom and pop, you got to rebrand. There's still a great opportunity there. It's just in this environment, we're looking at all the cost, all the different metrics, and so I think we'll probably see a little bit of a hybrid going forward, where we're going to look at some development sites, but we're also going to do some acquisitions and continue to keep growing the portfolio. So we're hopeful that interest rates at some point in 2024 start to come down a little bit, because I think just being an asset owner, it's going to be helpful for any of the number of the deals that we have. But we're not going to count on that right now. We're just going to look at every deal on an individual basis and look at the debt terms and see if it's a deal that makes sense. Fortunately, with the car wash business being a very profitable business, we have a little bit more room to work there with the high interest rates compared to other deals we might do. So that is another, I think, benefit of the express car wash business.
Cool. Well, I want to ask you a little bit about your guys' exit strategy. I mean, are you planning to retire with hundreds and hundreds of washes, or is there what's your plan?
Yeah, so at the end of the day, we have what we are hoping for to be a big portfolio sale. If we can get to 100, 150 locations, there's a really nice multiple associated with a large portfolio sale, somewhere in the 15 to 18 multiple range. And that would be beneficial for anyone who's invested in any of the funds, because they would all benefit from a larger sale. And a lot of the big institutional private equity money is interested at it. If you have a national brand, it's a turnkey operation, and we've already had people approach us now, and it's like we don't want to continue or stop the growth. We want to continue to get this over the finish line and get to that level. I know several competitors have done an IPO. We feel like that's a route that we could do, but there's enough liquidity, we feel like, out in the marketplace that would be maybe unnecessary to do, given kind of the relationships and connections we have. But yeah, it'd be pretty cool to really exit this, especially for our investors. That's at the end of the day, that's what they want to see, a nice return. And the more that we can scale and grow this, the more profit we can make it, the more money everyone's going to make. So once we do exit this, as an investor, we'll be looking for that next opportunity to roll the funds into, and maybe it'll be in the car wash space, maybe it'll be somewhere else. But with our Hurricane Express brand, I mean, we're very proud of it, and we are on the path to getting that national exposure, and we want to make sure we see that through and have a nice portfolio exit at the end of the day.
That's a great segue to my next question. I'd like for you guys to share with our audience how they can get involved. I mean, I think that probably everybody that watches this program either owns a car wash, wants to own a car wash, or wants to own more car washes, right?
Yeah.
And like you said, 4 million, 7 million, those numbers are big numbers. But you had mentioned, getting in at a much lower rate. How can my audience get involved with owning part of a car wash?
Yeah, so the easiest thing to do would just be go to our website, McKennaCapital.com. And you can sign up as a new investor, get on our distribution list. And from there, either Sean or I will reach out. We'll have that initial conversation, get to know you a bit, and then we can start sharing monthly updates. We have a monthly newsletter that we do, and then eventually our deals will flow to interested investors. We're also on all the different social media sites, but the easiest way I would say is just go to our website and reach out to us from there, and we'd be happy to talk further.
You mentioned it earlier, but just one more time, could you talk about what are the minimums, maximums, what does an investment with you look like?
Yeah, so I would say the minimums are typically $50,000. We have some deals that are $100,000. We try to keep it low because we know that investors want to diversify, and so if we've got say a deal or two a month, we want investors to be able to spread out their capital. And so to be able to come into a car wash syndication for $50,000 or $100,000 and to have access to maybe 3 or 4 car washes that are in that particular fund, because we typically are bundling several locations together. It's a great way to have that diversification with one investment. So we try to keep that low, and it's a way for investors too to also try it out and see if they like this type of investing. Like I said before, we have a high rate of return with investors, so I feel like that's very telling that this is a successful model and that they really like it. And so yeah, we've seen this grow organically, very exponentially over the last few years, and it'll be a fun ride to see where we are in several more years. But like I said, there's no pressure to ever invest. We love what we do. We try to do the best that we can when we're putting deals together, and we've got a lot of loyal investors who've had a great experience, and so we'd be happy to have some more if anyone's interested.
How frequently are you doing a deal that involves car washes? I mean, are you buying a batch of car washes every 3 months, once a year? Like, what's your frequency?
It's about once a quarter, I would say. Yeah, so we typically, the 31 express car washes is, I would say, over about a year and a half period. If the high interest rate environment didn't hit us so hard, we'd probably be at 50 locations, I would say, right now. But right now, we're being a little bit more selective. We're going to have next year, opportunities not only from a development, ground up standpoint, but also more acquisitions from a lot of mom and pop operators. And the coordination around the mom and pop operators, the reason we do the portfolio is that there might be 4 or 5 different closing dates because they're individual sales, and so we try to package it together and make it all work. So when an investor comes in, they get the benefit of multiple locations. But yeah, I would expect us to probably acquire at least 20 more car washes next year, and then from there on, continue to keep growing. So yeah, we've got an active pipeline, and we really like some of the secondary, tertiary markets where there's not much competition. That's really where we've seen some of the best results and the best returns. And so that's our focus has been in the Southeast. We're in 7 different states, and we continue to keep growing and expanding and being smart about where we open up Hurricane Express car washes at.
When you say secondary or tertiary, is that what size city is that? Like in your mind, how do you define that?
Yeah, I would say it's cities that probably have 250 to 500,000 residents. So it's not a major city, but it's one that's maybe flies on the radar a little bit. But a lot of that comes down to even some smaller cities too, that maybe there's a lack of car washes in the vicinity, or if there is competition, it's not something that's going to hinder our growth. Mm-hmm. And we're in bigger markets too, but we've just seen when we're looking back at the 31 car washes, we've had some of the best results at some of the ones that have high traffic volume, but it's in a city where there's not many places you can get your car washed, and so
there's probably a Walmart close by.
Yeah. So yeah, there's definitely
you got to have that, and
yeah.
Thank you guys for coming. Is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience before we go?
Just want to thank you again, Brian, for having us on, and thank you to the audience for watching this and for letting us come into your studio today. This was a lot of fun, and hopefully we provided a little bit more insight into our express car wash business, and just want to thank you again for the time and the opportunity.
Yeah, thanks, Brian, and thanks to everyone for listening.
Yes, and thank you for taking the time to join us for this Professional Car Washing and Detailing's Wash Talk. I'm your host, Brian Ankney. Today, my guests have been Ryan and Sean McKenna from McKenna Capital and Hurricane Express Wash. We hope to see you again soon on a future episode.